Welcome in. It's the second cut. I'm Rick Gehman. This is your recap episode for the Procore. Touch a little bit on the BMW PGA Championship. Get you an NFL Sunday update as it pertains to our survivor pool. And joining me to do all of those things and probably some more, Mark Immelman is here. Hello, Mark.
Yeah, boys, the Falcons are currently leading, but I was watching golf and I walked through to the lounge and the first possession I see is Penix, Drake London, catch, run, spin, fumble the ball. I'm like, screw it. Let's go podcast.
Coughed it right up into the hands of the Vikings. And now we'll see. That game is just underway. Greg DuCharme is here. Gregors, good to see you.
It's amazing to me, Mark, how often when there's a football game of interest to me and it's going well when I'm looking at the scores and then I turn it on and everything changes.
Yeah, I know.
I should just stick to golf.
Yeah. Me too.
Well, I'm happy to announce that through almost 2 full weeks of the second cut NFL Survivor, there's been a lot of surviving, gentlemen. The Cowboys were the most selected team this Sunday. Yeah, 27.5%. They survived.
Eesh.
Arizona Cardinals, 24%. They're through. Ravens, 20%. They won in a rout. So really, Greg and I were just talking about this before we went hot, Mark. The Steelers were the team that were most selected in a loss, but that was only 3% of the pool. So a lot of people advancing to week 3.
Okay, well, I was thankfully Greg and I went with the Cardinals, and they were up big. And then the next thing I turn around, look at the score, and I see that Carolina scored 13 in the fourth. So that was closer than I thought. Thankfully, I wasn't watching, but I was sweating the Cowboys with you the whole game there, Rick.
It was tight the entire time.
Right.
Obviously, a game that goes over. And I just Russell Wilson does this thing where he just throws this moon ball late, and Malik Neighbors comes down with it. Unbelievable. And Greg, I got that dreaded text, right? The dreaded text that says, is a tie a win or a loss? And I can assure you, it is a loss. If you do not win, your team is out.
Well, I'm watching this in overtime, and I saw the Wan'Dale Robinson moon ball and the Neighbors moon ball, and now I'm watching overtime. I'm like, I can't turn this game off. This is insane. And Wilson then throws a moon ball to the Cowboys, and I'm like, there's 2 minutes left. This could be a tie, which is a tie in the NFL is crazy to me as it is. Ties are normally like 16-16, like 11-11. No one could score, and it ends up being a tie. I don't think I've ever seen a tie at 37-37. And
I don't know who I
was going to.
Who is this Cowboys kicker that they are just happily running out there to kick 60-yarders like it's no problem?
He made that 60-footer look like a chip shot. That thing was freaking sailing when it went through there.
Hit the net.
Yeah, I mean, but you talk about Russell Wilson in that pass. That was incredible, right? To Malik for the touchdown. But then he does the most Russell Wilson thing in the world and throws it to freaking nobody except the Cowboys in the playoff, or toward the end of the playoff when they're driving. If they kick a field goal, they win.
It was both ends of the Russell Wilson spectrum. Yeah. Luckily, I came out on top of that one. Everybody moves on, or at least for the most part. We're going to have about, let's see here. We started with 556. We are going to have probably 520 left, depending on what Minnesota does. So a lot of us getting through into week 3.
Falcons are beating them, man. It's coming.
I know.
I'm not going to watch, and the Falcons are going to win.
Well, a lot as we would say around this house, a lot of golf to be played still.
Well, okay. Well, I'm up for negotiation now. All you guys that have the Vikings in this game, I'll be accepting small bribes to go and then I'll go watch the games so the Falcons lose. Or if I don't hear anything, then I'm going to not watch and they'll win.
There you go. That's a good life hedge and way to profit off of this. Let's start with the BMW PGA Championship. This was this morning flagship event on the DP World Tour. Alex Noren wins in a playoff. And Greg, I swear this happens every year. I don't think there were any snubs for either one of these two Ryder Cup teams, but I swear the last man who does not get on an international team always wins the BMW PGA Championship immediately after the captain's picks have been revealed.
I mean, I know Billy Horschel has done it for sure, which is great. Yep. It's wild how that always turns out. The interesting thing to me is that he's a vice captain on this team.
Yeah.
He's included. It's such a hard team to make. And with his injury, like a torn hamstring, I think it was a little deeper into the fall last year. He missed a lot of time. I believe the PGA Championship this year was his second event back. So, he missed like the first quarter of the season. Really hard to work your way onto this team. So I think that's a little bit of a challenge. But all the European guys, except for Sepp Straka, played. 11 of them played, and Alex Noren beat them all. So really, really strong showing for him, and it's great to see him healthy. And I'm sure with his form, he's going to be on the sidelines itching to be playing in the Ryder Cup at Bethpage.
Yeah, let's talk about that form. Not only the victory here at the BMW PGA Championship, but I just looked it up, Mark, because I was trying to figure out what was that event. Didn't he just win a couple of weeks ago? Yeah, he did. The British Masters. He just won 2 starts ago. So this is here's his run. T7 at the 3M Open, 3rd at the Wyndham. He wins the British Masters. He gets cut at the European Masters. Then he wins the BMW PGA Championship. Next stop, Bethpage Black as a vice captain.
Yeah, it's a cool story too, because look, he's always been a great player, and then had that horrific injury and was out for a while. And the next thing, he's back on the PGA Tour playing really solidly. And I recall him at the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, where he was threatening. I think he finished runner-up there too. So it's a really cool story for a really cool guy. He's really gritty. He works as hard as anybody. And I sort of found it a little funny when he knocked off all of the guys that are going to be on his team being a vice captain. And then I saw various tweets going, oh, this is not good for the Euros because they couldn't beat their vice captain. And then I wanted to tweet back so badly to say, hey, that's part of the reason why Keegan withdrew or didn't enter the Procore, just in case he beat all of his American team over there. So let's be careful about these observations.
Yeah, could you imagine Keegan has to punt this thing down the stretch so that it doesn't look so bad if he wins and beats out his players? Well, they are en route. They, as in the European Ryder Cuppers, Justin Rose giving us a look onto what appears to be it's not a private jet, but it's one of those all first class, they have the whole thing to themselves, Greg. Every seat is a first class seat. I see everybody, the Molinari brothers there up front, Matt Fitzpatrick, Victor Hovland, John Rahm, Rory McIlroy's on the phone on the right-hand side. Everybody's there, and everybody's all happy headed to New York.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice. It looks like, what is it? What do they call that? A chartered flight.
A charter flight, yeah.
Yeah, so, but that looks pretty nice. I've never been on a plane like that. Maybe one day I will. I'm not sure why I would.
One day when the second cut is headed to, parts of the world unseen, we'll be in one of these.
We'll be in a 60-person chartered flight.
For the 4 of us.
For the 4 of us. Oh, I'd love to see it. They've come a long way, this European Ryder Cup group. I think Mark probably knows more about this than I do. There was a time when they were flying commercial over here before Tony Jacklin got involved and Sebi Ballesteros got involved, and they said, hey, we need to take this a little more seriously. This is clearly evidence of that. And now they're going over for their scouting trip to Bethpage Black. You can rest assured the European team is always going to be prepared for a Ryder Cup team, and this year will be no different.
Well, that is the interesting part about this, Marcus. Remember, the Ryder Cup is not next week. It is the following week. So they are going to be there early, getting all their prep work in, as I'm sure the U.S. squad will be there shortly after. But this is now that week of, it reminds me of, the week before the Super Bowl when it's just interviews and all. It's that week. It's the media circus week. Yeah,
I'm keen to see how the whole thing transpires because, well, look, quickly to put a bow on Greg's observation. Yeah, the Euros did travel commercial until Jacklin stepped in, and then they flew on the Concorde. And I spoke to a few of the players, and they said to me, they're like, we felt so important when we flew on Concorde to the United States, and they had their jackets and everything. So it certainly lifted the spirits of that team, and they went on a torrid run. But as far as this crowd goes, they'll be staying in the United States, and I believe they'll be trying to get in all of their work next week to make sure that the week of the event, you don't have to play too many holes. You rest, you recover, you do that sort of thing, and you make your final preparations. But I'm keen to see how that works out because, of course, the course will be controlled and run by the host team. So I'm wondering then if we'll see the greens not cut down to what they would normally be tournament speed-wise until the United States crowd arrive there. So I'm keen to see some of the gamesmanship that may be played with how the course is going to be when they're coming into play next week, or if it's just being managed by the PGA of America and Kerry Haig's doing everything. And then once tournament time rolls, well, the rough will be not as thick and the fairways won't be as narrow, but I'm keen to see what green speeds will be like in preparation for this crowd.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm sure we'll start getting the reports coming out of New York here in the next couple of days. Fun fact, the Concorde flew at Mach 2.04. That's twice the speed of sound. That's pretty fast. It's 1,350 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
Average commercial airliners now fly 500, 550 miles an hour. And no longer used, Mark. It's sad. They retired it in 2003. Just too expensive. Not enough demand for the Concorde.
Yeah, and I believe New York, London, it was something like 4 hours to get over there. It was a hop, skip, and a jump when you were on Concorde, and that's normally like 8 or 9 hours. Am I wrong?
You are close. Let's see. It would do New York to London in 3 hours, which is it is usually
it's 8.
I was thinking it was 6, but yeah.
I had 6 in my mind too, but I'm not sure if that's just the time zone difference that I'm thinking.
Oh, we don't need to get you started on the time zone difference.
I didn't mean to, I'm serious. I don't know which was in my mind.
No, I did Edinburgh, Atlanta recently, and it was 8. Yeah, no,
okay, well then we will take your word for it because you have taken the most recent transatlantic flight, I believe. We'll take your word for it. We will also take Scotty Scheffler's word for it because he's done it again. This is weird. This is his 6th win in 2025, but the 2025 season is like over, or at least it's after the Tour Championship. But this will, Greg, count. This will count as a 2025 victory, even though it's coming in the fall portion of the schedule. We don't do the wraparound anymore.
No, I don't think he's ever played in a FedEx Cup fall event, since they stopped the wraparound. So he's 1 for 1 in the FedEx Cup fall. Hasn't had to. This was, you could see this coming on Friday, right? And I know that this field is not like most of the events that he wins, but his whole Ryder Cup team is there. Right, and Ben Griffin's leading the way the whole time, a formidable opponent. Everybody that's on his team except Xander and Bryson are playing. There's a lot of really good players in this. He goes out and shoots 2 under in round 1, and you know he's still going to win. It's insane. And he does. He shoots 5 under today, and here's football to watch. I'm watching this. I got to watch every shot he hits. I'm fascinated by it. And it was the easiest round of golf imaginable. Like we were talking about this before the show, Rick. What was the highlight moment? I don't think there was one. This was easy. An easy round of 67 for Scotty. I would argue he made a couple of errors with the 3-putt at the par 3 14th, I believe it was, from 14 feet, and hitting it in the bunker on the par 5, forcing a layup, not making birdie there. Other than that, this is flawless. It classic Scotty Scheffler.
Look at the weekend, Mark. It's 64-67. The 64 was the best round of Saturday. The 67 was the third best round put together. So he goes absolutely nuts on the weekend. And Scotty, he just might be the most underrated player in the world. This is crazy. It doesn't matter. He was 2-1 to win this event. It was the shortest full field odds I have seen in my entire life post Tiger Woods. And he does it. Of course he does. Why not?
The thing about Scotty, if you watch him play, like after that first round of 70, I was on HQ the following morning, and one of the questions was, "Are you concerned about Scotty?" And I actually laughed. I'm like, "No, he's going to be fine. Just watch." And of course, he turned. Not that I'm Nostradamus or anything, but the reason why I could say that was because the guy plays like Tiger did. He never shoots himself out of a tournament. On his bad day, he gets it under par. Shocker, he didn't break 70, which has been, he started a new streak now, so he's got 3 rounds in a row. So he starts off kind of slow, but he doesn't exacerbate problems. And whenever you see him in the rough, he hits the ball on the right side of the flag. I got to say, when I was watching golf today, I'd mentioned to you boys that as the week progresses, this golf course always gets crispy because it's dry, and you could see the color changes in the place, and you could see the lies in the rough. A lot of them looked like they were jets, and the ball was going to come out there just absolutely flying. And he judged distance every single time. He'd land the ball in the right portion of the green. It would hit and release up there to somewhere hole high. And that's why it didn't look like there was some sort of highlights, because he was just putting from 25, 30 feet if he was in trouble. And then he just picked off the odd birdie when he got it. It was vintage Scheffler. There wasn't anything special because he doesn't do anything special, really. What he does that's not special, what he does that is special, is he avoids making big errors. And he showed the field that this week, and once again, he's a winner.
Once again, he's a winner. I feel like 40% of the Sunday shows we do are some version of Scotty Scheffler victory laps, and that's amazing. Greg, off the top of your head, I was chewing on this over the course of the last couple of weeks. What are some of golf's most unbreakable records?
Tiger's cut streak.
Okay, Tiger's cut streak, which is probably more in jeopardy than it's ever been because of the way that golf is going, yet still probably very untouchable. That's a good one.
Another one of Tiger's is 52 consecutive rounds under par of par or better.
That's a very good one. Probably won't be touched.
Well, Scotty's still on track over there. Right now he's got 22 if it's par or better.
It's probably got more than that.
Yeah, it may be more than that. It may be more than that.
Although he had that random, he'll do that random 2 over at a major on Saturday or something.
Well, he had that streak of 18 straight rounds in the 60s coming into this, and then he shot 70.
Yeah. So the current streak,
that was 21.
The current streak is at least 20 something.
Yeah.
It would be at least 25.
Okay.
So if not more. So that would be an untouchable record. I think that the most untouchable record in golf is 11 wins in a row.
That's by far the most untouchable one. But we have not gotten to the one that I was thinking about just yet.
18 majors.
Well, that's definitely untouchable too. 281 straight weeks at world number 1 for Tiger Woods. I think Scotty kind of has a shot at it.
Well, how far ahead is he now? It's actually ludicrous how far in front of McIlroy is.
So, right. He is lapping the field. He's lapping Rory. Rory is lapping everybody else. And I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to sit down and start doing the math of what it would take for someone to get to number 1. But he is building up such a massive lead. I think it's going to be a long time before somebody else becomes the number 1 player in the world. Scotty is already at 122 straight weeks. This is the 3rd longest streak ever. It is the longest non-Tiger streak ever. And I think it's going to be a while before someone takes it from him.
So he's not quite halfway?
Yeah, he's more than a third, not quite halfway.
Yeah, it's legitimate now.
So So remind me what he's at, because okay, let's give him 52 weeks.
Let's do it like this. Yeah. So he is he's 3 years away.
Okay.
So he's 159 weeks away, which approximately 3 years or so, and he has already done over 2 years.
So when you see the things online that say like, hey, all Scotty has to do is this for 11 more years and he'll catch Tiger, that's total weeks.
Those are cumulative weeks, right?
Yeah, not consecutive.
Tiger has spent cumulatively 683 weeks, which is Scotty is not even a quarter of the way there yet.
So this is like the lead that Tiger had, if I remember correctly, in 2010. Tiger was kind of hurt and didn't play a whole lot, right. And he was still number one in the world from the lead that he had.
Right.
It's like because he won 5 times in 2009. So that's kind of where we are. We're in that territory with Scotty.
Yeah, like wins are going to drop off, but he has so many of them, and even if he wins once or twice a year,
okay,
who's going to catch him?
Okay, well, get this. Let's just put the wins into context, right? So he's just got 19. When you get to 20 PGA Tour wins, you become a lifetime member.
Uh-huh.
All right. So, and that's like Davis Love, Fred Couples, Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, those sorts of people. So he's already there. And when I was watching today, I couldn't help but think, because when he figured out finally the junior golf stuff, the word is he won like 99 junior tournaments
or more.
Yeah, and when he figured out the college stuff, he won a number of those things too. And so it's like once he gets to every level and he figures out what he's got to do, it's like, all right, I'll just keep rinsing and repeating stuff, and I find a way to win. And it's, we call it winning. I watch him play, and it's like he just never beats himself. And golf is the easiest game where you can beat yourself through a rash decision or a poorly timed shot, because everyone hits poor shots. It's just, do you hit it at the wrong time? Or like he can putt badly in a few rounds, but when it means something, he starts making putts. It's amazing how he just goes about it. Like he knows 72 holes like Tiger did. There's not going to be many people in front of me, so I just mustn't hit myself in the face. And that's what he does, and he shows up toward the top of the leaderboard every single time.
But there's another thing that makes this a little easier to do, and that is a physical. There's absolutely a mental component, which is probably bigger. But if you look at this from a numbers perspective, like in this decade golf era of strategy and playing to the numbers, we know that it favors distance so heavily. Scotty has that, but that debate has always been, do you want distance or do you want accuracy? And Scotty has both.
or the third option, both.
he hits driver all over the place, and he hits the fairway with driver all the time. I mean, I'm just looking at these numbers from this week. It's some of the hardest fairways to hit on the PGA Tour. He's 5th in driving accuracy. But in driving distance, all drives, he's 3rd.
Yeah. You're not supposed to be able to do that.
And then he's 1st at approach, 2nd in proximity. And it's game over. So you're not going to make mistakes when you're the best driver and the best iron player. It's very hard to make enough mistakes doing that. It is incredible to me.
He looked human for 10 minutes on what day? What day did he have a 30-yard shot that he hit into the bunker?
It was like the 12th. He made like a double bogey or something. Yeah, I know.
No, that was yesterday.
That was yesterday?
That was yesterday in his 64. He made double.
If you had to ask him, I bet you couldn't remember when it was. That's the beauty of the guy, how he's so present. It's incredible too how, he'll make a mistake and you'll see some aggravation. He's not a wallflower, but man, as soon as that thing's on the scorecard, then it's onward. He is onward every single time.
Yeah, I actually thought he hit a couple bad shots. So I think he chunked his second shot, just short of the green. Then he basically shanked it into the bunker directly to his right. Didn't hit a very good shot out of there. And then 2 putts for double.
He's good for
that was 14.
He's good for a shank once in a while, Scotty, especially with the shorter stuff.
Yes.
He did it at the Tour Championship last year.
Yeah. He did it. Yeah. He has once every 6 months. He's very Hazel adjacent on a short shot.
Hazel adjacent. I've seen him pipe 1 or 2 bunker shots before. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he'll get the next one up and down, so it's no big deal.
And here's the other thing. You know what he did after making double on 14?
Made birdie, probably.
Birdie.
Yeah.
Birdie on 15, and then birdie on 17 and 18. Yeah. Exactly.
You know what he did today after 3 putting? It was 11. I said 14. It was 11 from 14 feet. You know what he did after that?
12.
Birdie 12.
Yeah. Just impossible. Well, it's a one-shot victory over Ben Griffin, who had a chance on 18 to make birdie and force this thing into a playoff. No-go. That's Lanto Griffin's card. That's Ben Griffin's card. And this was an interesting day because the lead coming in was Ben Griffin's mark. He birdied each of the first 3 holes, 3 circles, 1, 2, and 3. And then he gets stuck in neutral, maybe even goes in reverse a little bit. He would only make 1 more birdie. He would play his final 15 holes at 1 over. He did not make a birdie on any of the par 5s. 1, 2,
15.
I'm sorry. 15 he did on 1 of the par 5s. And that's about it. Ben Griffin's going to come out of here with a solo second, but might be a little sour in the mouth.
Yeah, probably. The golf I think I saw the last 9 holes. He was playing out of the rough a lot. And he wasn't driving the ball, to Greg's observation about Scotty. And so you obviously saw a guy that didn't feel that comfortable off the tee. And the reality is you're playing from that rough, as I described, to those greens that were firm. It was going to be hard to get the ball close. So you're hitting the thing 30, 40 feet all day long, and you're not going to make those. But I still watch this guy, man, and he is just all gumption. Like there on the par 5 late, it used to be the 9th hole when we were young back in the day. Now it's 16, I believe it was. And he's hit a good drive in the fairway and then stands one up against the wind. The wind always through that corner with those huge cypress pines in the back always seems to go weird on that hole. Comes up short, sticks the leading edge in the ground. The ball comes off hot and he's got like 15 feet. And Scotty had just made birdie on the hole. And I actually looked at my wife, Tracy. I'm like, this guy's brave. And he knocks in that curling 15-footer. I'm like, that's the reason why I am so high on Ben Griffin right now. And he gave himself a chance. He hit a hell of a putt on the 16th hole, which was the old 10th for us old timers. On 17, same deal, a par 3. That was old 11 for us old timers. And then he hits it on 18 green. And I think the way he reacted, because that green tilts from back to front, that he thought the eagle putt was going to be a whole lot faster. But there's that weird tilt that comes off the front left green side bunker area that made Scotty's putt break so much, and that influenced his. And I was surprised he missed, but all the same, yeah, he's probably a little raw, but I'm sure he's happy as punch because he's about to go play on the U.S. team in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, not bad at all. Solo second here gets you a little bit of cash. No FedEx points because he is already in the top 50. So it takes a little bit of money, takes a little bit of confidence. But that 72nd hole, Gregors, he gets on the dance floor 59 feet 11 inches. That is really the range where you are more likely to 3-putt that than you are to make the putt. And he left himself 5 feet 9 inches. That's the one that did not drop. That's the one he needed to force the playoff. Yeah,
you'd like to have made that. That just comes down to the moment. Can you execute? I think he pulled that putt a little bit. Got low on him quick, which is disappointing. And it was his second 3-putt of the day. He 3-putted at 14 as well, although that one was a really slippery downhiller he had.
Was that the one that Scotty had right before that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Scotty made double there the day before. So he didn't hit a great wedge shot in there, which was kind of surprising. Scotty, that is. Anyway, so Ben Griffin makes those 2 mistakes on the back 9. And the one that I'm watching the golf yesterday, and I'm thinking, well, Ben Griffin is going to get to 18. Scotty had posted at 14, and I'm thinking, okay, he's going to birdie 18, and he's going to get to 18 under. This is going to be tough. This will be really tough for Scotty. He'll be tough to catch at 18. He doesn't make birdie. He makes bogey, falls back to 16, now only has a 2-shot lead, and ends the tournament at 18 under. I mean, just imagine if he made birdie at 18 in round 2, or round 3 rather, it starts off with 3 straight birdies. This is, he's on cruise control, running away with this thing. So it's just, but this is what you're going up against. You can't make mistakes against Scheffler because he's coming. He's going to put a number like this on the board every time. And, you have a couple of explainable 3 putts. Your first bogey of the week comes on 18. Like, your first bogey in 54 holes is the mistake that costs you the tournament. It's crazy to think how challenging it is, how fine these margins are when a guy like Scotty Scheffler's playing.
Yeah, you have to be perfect. And that is what Lanto Griffin discussed post-round. Lanto, no relation to Ben, ends up finishing in solo third and gave a very emotional post-round interview, Mark, where he said a lot of things. One, he talked about how his win at Q School basically extended his career. Golf has not been very kind to Lanto Griffin over the last couple of years. He had a back surgery a few years ago, has had trouble kind of keeping his card and keeping status. He wins at Q School in the last offseason to keep his card. And he went as far as saying, would have been nice if Scotty Scheffler wasn't here, because he knows the value of the points and everything that's on the line for him.
Yeah, but he did himself a big favor. And he was really emotional when Kira Dixon said to him, because he came into the event like in the 140s.
142.
142 and 100 keep their cards. And this finish, sad to not birdie the last, because he hit 2 beautiful shots into the par 5 and drew a horrid lie behind the green, but did a fantastic putt that didn't go down. But to shoot the round he did today, very timely, it did worlds for him, and you could sense not the relief, but just the thing like, okay, I'm 100th now.
Yeah.
So I've got a really good chance of extending, my playing privileges on the tour. And you heard him saying, look, I would have loved to have won. And he joked about Scotty Scheffler. But the first thing he said was like, my goal was to get into Japan or to the Zozo tournament, which is a limited field. Now I'm expecting this will probably do that for him. So you get in there. So now there's a few more points over there. And so, yeah, he's done himself a really big favor by showing up in the first event in the fall. And it speaks again, and we've talked about this, to how intriguing the fall now becomes with fewer cards available.
Yeah, there's just so many guys and so few spots available. A bookend week of 65s for Lanto Griffin, and Mark is absolutely right, Greg. This puts him at exactly 100th in the FedEx Cup standings. But look at this start. I mean, he goes nuts on Sunday. If you're watching on YouTube, we've got the scorecard up there. That's birdies on 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. So he goes out in 30 with a bogey and by making a par on the par 5 fifth.
Really? Yeah. I guess that was disappointing. But just a ridiculously good round of golf. He hit the ball great. He putted lights out for the week. Gained nearly 9 strokes putting. A couple of cool things. One, the bogey at 9. Lanto's had some real struggles with short game.
Yes.
And when the broadcast started, he was around that time on 9 and hit a chip like 20 feet by.
So I'm going to stop you right there, Greg, because this goes back a long time. We've talked about this a long time. This goes back to, remember there was that match play event?
Yes.
Where,
oh my gosh,
where he was beating Colin Morikawa or somebody. He was like the last man in the pod. He was up on the verge of some huge upset, and he straight got the chipping yips.
Yes.
Lost that, never got it back, had surgery after that. You're right. And that chip that he had on 9 from right in front of the green basically bladed it over the green. He did not keep it on the putting surface.
So that was like, you're right. But then he putted the next one.
Correct.
And I'm like, oh, man, you got to be hitting it really good to be in this kind of position and hitting short shots like that. Then he turns around on 13 from a terrible lie behind the green. This chip shot from the rough, it's like, how do you get this close? He holds it. It rolls in like a putt.
Yes.
So I was so impressed. It turned out to be a pretty good short game day, or short game week. He chipped in and still lost strokes around the green in round 4. So there's an area of weakness there. He also said he was struggling with his game really all season. Obviously 142nd in the FedEx Cup, made a couple of changes and was feeling really good. I heard him talk about that on Thursday after his first round. So I think there's a lot of hope going forward. You basically are in Q school again. It's just 5-6 tournament Q school. And you're right there in position. So, if I'm Lanto Griffin, I'm focused on the changes I've made, the progress that I've made, how it's working. Now you go play golf. Don't worry about who's in the field. Don't worry. Just go continue to improve on the things you're working on because they clearly work. And I think he'll end up getting his PGA Tour card.
The Lanto Griffin I know has always been a beautiful ball striker. Sort of hits it flat, not much movement through the air, solid. And the greenside stuff has been a bit of an issue. I mean, I don't like to use the word yips, but it was kind of yippy for a while there. And he's really close with Vijay Singh. Now, I hadn't seen lately, but I'm wondering if Vijay had a bit of an influence on him to perhaps chip and pitch cross-handed, because you talk about that pitch in from behind the green there right after the par 5. I would argue that when you got the ball sort of down in the rough like he had it, where you're making this sort of explosion sort of a shot with a longer swing, it doesn't channel the nerves as much as what it would if you got some tight lie in the fairway to a firm green.
Totally right.
Where you really got to land the club correctly and nip the ball well. It's easy on those to get a little electric in the hands. So yeah, it's something that it's hard to play around, because if you start missing a few targets, which is inevitable, then life becomes really, really hard. And just to that, I wanted to say this too. That's the one thing about Scotty, and I had this with respect to Lanto. Scotty hit the ball in the right spot most times, and on the par 5, again, for me, it was, I think it's like 11 or something now in the new course setup, where he was
12 probably.
12, yeah, just short of the green, into the grain lie a little bit up the hill, and just digs this wedge in there, short of the green, chips it up there to like 3 feet. And I looked at that going, this guy has no weakness, because the ability to chip and putt well, or chip well, especially where you take pressure off the putter, it is such an advantage. And for Lanto, it's something you hope to clean up to be relevant all the time, because you watch Scotty, it's the reason why he makes very few bogeys if he misses targets.
And a lot of birdies on par 5s.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Yeah. Easy, low stress, I should say, if you can kind of get up and down from basically anywhere, which is what Scotty Scheffler does. Scotty Scheffler, top of the podium. Ben Griffin, solo second. Lanto Griffin, solo third. Let's give the shout to this guy who is allegedly an amateur. His name is Jackson Koivun. I'm not so sure. And I can't imagine he's going to be an amateur much longer, because he's going to snap off one of these victories, Greg, and he's just going to accept that card right on the spot, because this dude is stellar. He goes 67, 66, 68, 71. This is fresh off of the Walker Cup last week. He's going to get finally some rest, but my goodness, a well-deserved #1 amateur in the world.
Yes. And he's going back to Auburn. He has enough PGA Tour U points to become a PGA Tour member.
So let's talk about this, because he can accept that whenever he wants, right?
Yes.
Now, what level of status is that? Like, okay, so if he would have won this event and would have gotten winner's status, that would have been a lot better than whatever status he would get by just accepting number one spot in the PGA Tour U.
And you get an extra year. So if he accepted it, I don't know when exactly it was. Let's just say after the Travelers, because that's kind of around the time of when the NCAAs end.
Right.
So if he accepted it, then you get a year and a half.
You get the rest of this year and next year.
If you win, you get the rest of this year and 2 years.
Right.
So, there'd be an extra year tacked onto it, but I get the sense that he wants to go back to Auburn for another year. It would be his junior season.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, right? That's the word. We've heard that he's going to college for another year. And as far as I've heard, this card, the PGA Tour U card, moves them in terms of your number and your eligibility ranking. It moves you in front of Korn Ferry Tour players. So, look, he'd get a lot of starts if he did decide to take it. But the golfer he is, and the young man he is, and the poise he's shown playing in the final group, contending in all these events, he's a star. All the sponsors know it. He's not going to want for sponsors' invitations whatsoever when he does get his junior year done.
This is no fluke, Mark. So here's his last 4 PGA Tour starts. He's an amateur, by the way. He's going to be a junior at Auburn. T11 at the John Deere, T6 at the ISCO, T5 at the Wyndham, T4 this week in Napa. That's a pretty good trend.
Well, it's 6-5-4. Next one will be 3, I guess, if we keep in the trend. Yeah, look, he is super impressive. I've watched him play. He's got a brisk, well-organized action. He is sneaky long, hits the ball very, very squarely. But the thing that gets me about watching him play is he looks like he's up for the spotlight. A lot of people want the spotlight, but when you turn the spotlight on, they can't handle it and they wilt. This guy looks like he revels in the stuff and he's made for it. And that's the most impressive thing to me because here he is. He's mixing it up with Scotty Scheffler and Ben Griffin, Ryder Cuppers, and he's looking like he's not afraid whatsoever. I was somewhat surprised he made those 2 bogeys there early in the second 9, but he bounced right back with a couple birdies there to finish. And I thought hit a beautiful shot into 18 and hit a pitch shot. So, I mean, got all the tools. I always have my reservations. This is just me now. Where when a player is playing this well and you've got the opportunity to go to the PGA Tour, that they don't take it. Now, not to say Jackson's future isn't bright, but nothing is guaranteed. So I'm more of the ilk where I'm like, big eye. Nick Kleinert over there at Auburn's he's going to be fine if you say to him, look, I'm on the way after the fall season. Because you may as well go and strike while the iron is hot. And he's playing with such confidence right now. He says he wants to win a bunch of tournaments this year. I'm like, okay, why don't you why don't you do it against the best? It might be worth your while, because we've seen a few golfers do this before, like a Matt Kuchar, for argument's sakes. And Kuch didn't take up his thing, finished university, then came out and was decent, then lost his game, then had to rebuild. So again, there's no guarantees. So I'm keen to see how this one turns out. But if the tea leaves are a good indicator of where we're going, this guy's going to be just fine.
Week off for everybody on the PGA Tour. Then the Ryder Cup. So week off for almost everybody. And then Greg, I imagine he gets afforded because of the top 10. If he wants to play in the Sanderson Farms, he can play in the Sanderson Farms, right?
That's true. Yes.
Okay. So we could see him there. And
so what's the Auburn coach having to say now? Because they're in the midst of the fall season.
Yeah. I don't know what their schedule's like.
And then what if he plays well at the, does he accumulate next 5 points or he doesn't get him as an amateur?
No, you don't get any.
You got to pick up your membership.
There are non-member points.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can even get those as an AM because Nick Dunlap didn't when he won as an amateur. He didn't get any of the 500. When Tom Kim won, he accumulated back points because he had non-member points that then get converted once you become a member. But I think you have to be a pro. So I'm kind of with you, Mark. I think the best, like, you go to college to learn, to prepare you for the job that you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
The job that Jackson Koivun's going to do, I think he knows what that is. I'm not sure what he's studying there.
I'll find out.
Auburn, but I don't think it matters. Okay, he's going to be a professional.
That points thing. Remember the whole Jordan Spieth thing when he came out and he got his invitations and he starts and stuff, and he had enough points to become a member, but he had to win. And remember when he won at John Deere, then all the points were accrued. They went into his account or whatever, and then he made it to the playoffs, made the Ryder Cup, the whole thing. Yeah.
He was pro all those events,
that's
a clear differentiator, I guess.
According to his bio on auburntigers.com, he plans to study business. I don't know if he is still currently undecided or undeclared, but he plans to study business. That's in his profile. And looking at Auburn's fall schedule, maybe there is no rest for the weary because they've got an event tomorrow in Tennessee. Then in 2 weeks, they're going to play Colonial for the Ben Hogan Collegiate. He does have the week off from Auburn Golf. That would coincide with the Sanderson Farm. So who knows?
His agent is getting calls right now to come to Sanderson. Guarantee you. I guarantee you the Sanderson folks on the line to his agent. And I, when he holed out there on 18, because I was watching this and my wife obviously pays attention. And she's like, how about this amateur? He's so good. And I'm like, yeah, he really is. And I was thinking about him. So here he plays well. Doesn't cash a check. He goes back to the hotel. He's packing up for a red eye tonight, back to Auburn, Alabama. And then maybe he gets in the van with the team tomorrow morning. I'm sure he gets in the van with the team tomorrow morning. So I'm wondering what sort of dark magic they're doing with the professors around Auburn University there to say, yo, this Jackson guy, he is in your class, by the way, and he's going to show up at some stage. We promise you.
Yeah. He's following along with the syllabus in the van.
Yeah, right.
Trust us.
He's one of our online students.
Yeah, trust us. I'm sure NIL is doing okay for Jackson Koivun at the moment as well. Couple of other items. We are going to release the grid in just 1 second, which is going to show how we did in our selections for the week. I mentioned earlier that the vast majority of us have survived in the NFL Survivor on Splash. There are weekly golf contests on Splash. There are NFL pick'ems. There are touchdown survivors. There are a plethora of other contests that are available. There is a link in the description if you want to go and sign up and be prepared, because that's where we'll be hosting our one and done for next year. I saw they were like a top 5 downloaded sports app the last couple of days. So everybody is over there rocking and rolling, getting all situated. So make sure that you are too. Mina, how'd we do? I think Mark did really well. Oh, that's right. It was just me and Mark. Yeah. Okay. This is pretty good by our standards. So first off, I get McNeely over English. Boom. Love it. Sahith did not finish in the top 20 after a very good start. Russell Henley did not win. JJ Spawn did not win. But you, Mr. Mark, you go 3 for 4, which is as good as you could have possibly have done because you have 2 outright winners here. So hat tip to you, my friend.
You know what this reminds me of? We started this whole thing at the Masters, right? And my very first pick, I picked the winner. And from then on, I've just absolutely sucked. So now as we start the fall, I have a really good grid. The future doesn't look very bright.
I want to ask you a question, Mark.
What's that?
When you filled this out, which did you feel better about? Maverick McNeely top 20 or Scotty Scheffler to win?
That's a really good question. Probably McNeely. Because I had a really good feeling about JJ Spawn. I really did.
Yeah,
but look, I think you weren't on the show because you were getting whipped by the ocean course. I said to Rick, I'm like, I don't care what the number is. You got to bet. I actually said, I'm sounding like Greg. I don't care what the number is. You got to bet on Scotty. You just have to. You'd be dumb if you didn't.
The odds only matter now because he won.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
McNeely top 20 indeed. Scotty Scheffler the win. I mean, your 2 outrights, Mark, combined finishing position was 7 because JJ Spawn held his own. He finished solo 6th, had a couple of short putts that he probably wish he had back, but played well for the vast majority of the week. So I think you were keen in on your 2 outrights for the week as well.
Yeah, and it was cool for me to see JJ and Russ Henley play alongside Scotty in the first 2 rounds. So I'm wondering, I know that Henley and Scotty are going to be a thing, but I'm wondering if JJ and Scotty could be a thing too. So I was keen at that trio that they had out there playing together. So JJ looked solid this week. Gosh, he didn't make anything coming down the stretch today, else he would have been higher up.
You think JJ would be okay with that, playing with Scotty once or twice?
Yeah, I think it'd be absolutely fine. But what a way to guarantee yourself a few Ryder Cup points in your ledger, huh?
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun next week. Everything coming out, who's going to play with who, what's the course look like, everybody getting into form, and then the Ryder Cup the following week. But gentlemen, I am at the end of the outline. So now I ask, is there anything else that I missed from today that we must discuss before I get us out of here?
Falcons up 9-6 at halftime.
Yeah, real slobber knocker going on Sunday Night Football.
What have I missed? I can't believe we had to do this show.
You have literally missed nothing if you've just been watching us instead of this football game. They are at halftime right now, and we're going to get you back for the second half. So I'm
about to go ruin them. You just watch.
Perfect. All right. Their demise is incoming.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Is it like unrequited love? Is that what it is? Is that I just love them so much that I'm putting too much pressure on them and they're going, Mark, it's you, it's not us kind of thing? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I would bet that'll come out in their post-game press conference.
All right.
Yeah, we were fine in the first half. We just felt something weird in the second half, like eyeballs were, I don't know, it was just an awkward experience for us. Yeah.
You know what's going to suck, right? I shouldn't forecast this, but just got to say this because I'm going to have to use them at some stage during the splash contest.
Yes.
And I'm pretty much convinced that when I pick the Falcons, they are going to lose.
It's going to be the double combo. It's going to be the personal loss and the contest loss.
So I'm going to wait until like one of the last few games, and if I'm still around.
All right. Well, I have to start looking at the schedule for next week, see who plays who. Okay. Big thanks to producer Mina. She does all the hard work behind the scenes. Mark Immelman, Greg DuCharme. I'm Rick Gehman. This is The Second Cut. We'll catch you next time.